The body of a North Carolina teenager was found in a Florida retention pond just off of a major interstate, more than a week after sending an alarming text that read, "Mom, help." Family members confirmed that Giovanni Pelletier was dead. The mystery surrounding his disappearance and death, it is only deepening, and we are diving into everything we know right now with one of the people who was on the ground looking for this teen. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. A North Carolina family is overwhelmed with grief right now after a vacation to Florida may have ended in just unimaginable tragedy. We're talking about 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier. Traveled with his mom, Bridget, her fiancé, his 4 younger siblings to Englewood, Florida, which, by the way, is on the western side of the state. It's south of Tampa and St. Petersburg. During this trip, Giovanni was supposed to meet up with some of his cousins as part of this effort to reconnect with his dad's side of the family. But things somehow took a turn, and now evidence is suggesting that Giovanni ended up dead in a pond on the side of I-75. Now, I'll tell you, the story's a little complicated because it involves so many different people and places and agencies, but we're going to try to make sense of it for you. So Giovanni and his family are from Raleigh, North Carolina, and he was reported missing in Charlotte County, Florida, and was supposed to be going to see some of his family in Brevard County, which is a few hours away, but his remains, or his apparent remains, were found in Manatee County. So I'm going to lay this whole timeline out for you. So in an interview with People magazine, Bridget Pelletier says after her son turned 18 in April, he was interested in getting to know his biological father's side of the family. He lived in Florida up until he was 4, was estranged from his paternal relatives. Bridget, by the way, is of Italian and Puerto Rican descent, while Giovanni's father is African American, and she says that her son wanted to connect with that part of his family tree. So before the trip to Florida, Giovanni apparently joined a group chat with some of his paternal relatives, including 3 cousins. Now you go to August 1st, around 1:30 in the morning. Those cousins reportedly picked up Giovanni from Englewood, reportedly headed for Mims, which is on the other side of the state, several hours away. Why the cousins, who had never met Giovanni, picked him up so late at night, that part still a little unclear. And also, I'll tell you, the age of these cousins is also unknown. But not long after he left, according to Bridget in her interview with People, Giovanni sent some alarming text messages to family members, including one to her that just said, "Mom, help." Now, unfortunately, Bridget was asleep, and she wouldn't see that text or a missed FaceTime call until the next morning. That is when she realized that Giovanni had also sent similar messages to his grandfather and aunt when he couldn't reach his mom. Now, Bridget told People magazine that she also had a missed call from one of the cousins and received a voicemail from Giovanni's paternal grandfather saying there had been some kind of, quote, altercation, and that the cousins had apparently left Giovanni on the side of the road in Bradenton. This is about an hour away from where the family had been vacationing. Now, Bridget says that she used the GPS on Giovanni's cell phone to try to find him, but only found his backpack with his phone inside. She told People, "My son eats, sleeps, showers, breathes his phone," saying he never would have left it behind. Now, according to the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, that backpack was found near State Road 70 and I-75, where the cousins had apparently left him. So how did Giovanni end up outside the car? Well, according to what Bridget told People, the cousin who'd called her overnight later told her that the group smoked marijuana with Giovanni after they picked him up. And the cousin claimed, reportedly, that Giovanni had gotten paranoid and started to panic, eventually cursing at the cousin and threatening him with a knife in a roadside confrontation before running away. However, that information appears a little bit different from what Charlotte County deputies released to the public as they launched their search. According to Charlotte County officials, Giovanni, quote, began acting erratically before exiting the vehicle and walking away near State Road 70. Now, we believe that is information that has come from the cousins, per ABC News. Now, Giovanni's family launched search efforts in multiple counties. They announced a $10,000 reward for information leading to Giovanni's location or the arrest and conviction of anyone responsible for hurting him. That reward was reportedly eventually increased to $25,000. Now, according to multiple social media posts by family members, Giovanni's relatives on his father's side did not help with any searches. We couldn't confirm that, but that seems to be what we're seeing on social media. Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey spoke at a news conference on Friday before Giovanni's body had apparently been found to give an update on how his agency had been involved in this investigation. And he also addressed some misinformation that had been floating around online.
Our agency has been involved. We were reached out for by the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, asked to go interview the three young men that were over in their county that had picked Giovanni up. We sent, when they first called, it was August 1st. And our deputies went out, talked to one of the individuals, conveyed back to Charlotte County what information they had developed. The following day, information started to spread on social media, misinformation, I should say. A lot of it was spread on social media, and Charlotte County asked us to go out and check on a car that had, according to what was being said on social media, had been part of this. The car was at a salvage yard. Our team went out, and the car was not part of this. It had completely no connection to this. In fact, everything that we could tell from looking at the vehicle, it hadn't moved in a substantial amount of time. The brake pads were all rusted. Everything, the car had not moved. So, but as part of our assistance with them, as part of us offering any resources to them we could, we actually sent agents to go interview the three young men. We've not only interviewed them, we've interviewed other members of the family. We've also recovered the actual vehicle that was that the boys were driving, and that vehicle, the family gave it to us, said, "Take it, do whatever you need to do with it." We did. We took it, and we had our crime scene team go through it and reported back to Charlotte County that there was no evidence of any type of wrongdoing that was part of it. So, you know, as you guys have probably seen in some of the stuff going on, some of the news reports, some of his items, a backpack, a school bag, and a telephone were found on the interstate over in Manatee County, I believe it was. But there's nothing to indicate he ever came to Brevard County. In fact, just the opposite from the witness statements that we've had and any evidence that Charlotte County's been able to collect.
According to Sheriff Ivey, the only reason search parties had been organized in Brevard County was because of misinformation about the car, and clarified that if there was any credible information that Giovanni might be in Brevard, his deputies would be out in full force looking for him. Now, after searches that crisscross the state, what are believed to be Giovanni's remains were found over the weekend in a retention pond where he was last seen. According to the Manatee County Sheriff's Office and the medical examiner, the body was so decomposed that further testing would need to be done to confirm it's actually Giovanni, but that they were preliminarily saying it was him. In a statement posted by WTSP, the Sheriff's Office said, according to the ME, no foul play or trauma was found during the autopsy. The cause and manner of death are pending toxicology and further investigation. Detectives believe the body had been in the pond for multiple days before floating to the surface. Prior searches of the area by law enforcement and volunteer search teams did not yield any signs of Giovanni Pelletier. At approximately 3:15 p.m. on August 8, 2025, a family member was conducting a search when they saw what appeared to be a body partially submerged at the edge of the pond and notified deputies. However, there have been social media posts indicating that the official reporting hasn't been 100% accurate. In a heartbreaking Facebook post, his mom, Bridget, wrote, "The police didn't find my baby, the investigators didn't find my baby, the dogs didn't, the helicopters didn't. Stop spreading lies. You have no idea. We found my baby, and I will never, ever be the same." Bridget has started a GoFundMe page to raise money for search efforts, but updated it with the tragic news of Giovanni's death. It says, "My son was recently found after a desperate search by our family alone, and we are still facing an active investigation into his death. I am living every parent's worst nightmare, trying to find the strength to give him the goodbye he deserves. Any funds raised now will provide crucial support to cover funeral, medical, and legal costs as we struggle to honor his memory through this unimaginable heartbreak." The crowdfunding campaign has raised more than $27,000 so far, and a Change.org petition has also been launched to try to get the FBI involved in Giovanni's case. Part of that petition reads, "This case spans multiple counties, involves suspected gang affiliations, and may include interstate elements, all reasons why the FBI should be involved. Without proper investigation, key evidence may be lost forever, and those responsible may never be held accountable. Allowing misinformation and investigative gaps to stand sets a dangerous precedent for every missing person case in Florida and beyond. All right, so to get some more insight into this investigation, I want to bring on somebody who is actually a part of this, a part of the search. I want to welcome on Billy Lane to the show. He's a private criminal defense investigator, founding member of the We Are the Essentials. It's a group of former law enforcement officers, military service members who use their skills to try to locate missing people. You do great work. Thank you so much for coming on and taking the time. How did you get involved in Giovanni's search?
Thanks for having us. So we have a big social media platform with our local nonprofit in Tampa Bay. And typically what will happen is when a case of this magnitude sort of develops, a lot of our followers will tag us in the social media posts. And through that, we're able to reach out to the family, and through mutual contacts, we typically establish an open line of communication, which we did in this case.
For this case, what kind of what aspects of the search did you help with? Did you get involved with? Was it ground searches, air support, dogs? What aspects of the search?
So we started a conversation Sunday night with the family, and what we try to do is provide ground assistance. We are, ground searchers. So our job is to gather as much facts as possible. We have to start our own investigation because typically law enforcement won't share information with us, which is fine. So we start from ground zero using the family's information that they are able to provide us of the locations, times, dates, and places. And then Monday morning, we were on the ground at 7 a.m. to start a ground search, and we started moving forward from there.
And what did you do after that?
So our ground searches typically were isolated to the road area, which was very near where the family lived at. And this was based on several factors. One of them was text messages that we received, and we did a timeline of the text message. And based on the help mom, help text message, he would have been in this area in the vehicle. Based on the other information the mother had provided us, based on the GPS path of travel from the home back to MIMS, would taken the car down that road. So we felt like this is a very important area. Plus, it hadn't been searched based on our information. And this was a 10-mile stretch of river road from Winchester to I-75 that was very secluded. There was no cameras out here. It was very wooded. There was construction zones out there. There are areas that people could have pulled off to the side of the road and stopped without anybody seeing them. Plus, at 2 o'clock in the morning on this road, they had very little traffic. So our job was to start eliminating, hopefully our job was to try and locate him alive and in good health. But the secondary is to try to eliminate areas that he is not in. So we were out there hoping to find him, but in the meantime, we were eliminating areas. We use a mapping program, and it shows every step we take. But what's most importantly, shows every step we don't take. So we're able to close in those areas. So for 5 days, we spent on the ground searching. But in addition to that, we also provided support for the family. We were answering questions for the family as former law enforcement officers. Why isn't this happening? When will this start happening? And what should we expect? In addition to that, we're also filtering outreach through media sources so we could keep Giovanni's story alive in the news. So that was very time consuming, to say the least. It was very encompassed. There was a lot of moving parts of this, and the fact that this could be a search that would span more than 50 miles from the home. So we had to organize and structure our search based on facts that we were being given at the time.
By the way, if you've been following us here at Sidebar, you know how many different stories we produce a day, how many video clips we put out there a day. And just for any of you out there who are interested in maybe creating content of your own, if you put things out there, we use Opus Clip. So if you don't know what it is, it's an all-in-one AI editor that makes it easier and faster to cut, create, and upload videos across all social media platforms. And through the power of AI, Opus Clip automatically generates B-roll, it cleans up audio, it reframes your videos for any platform, and it is so easy to start using. I'm going to show you how. All you got to do is go to opus.pro/sidebar, sign up, and then upload a video. In just a few minutes, you're going to have tons of perfectly edited clips ready to go. So whether you're making videos for TikTok or Shorts or Instagram Reels, Opus Clip is your one-stop shop for getting your best content seen by more viewers across all these platforms with literally the press of just one button. And if you're wondering how good the AI edited videos are from Opus Clip, Just look at our content here at Law and Crime. Our producers have used Opus to help us cut and share clips of some of our most major trials, and having a tool like Opus Clip means we can get you even more viral updates from inside the courtroom faster than ever before. So at Sidebar, we know our listeners have a lot of opinions and ideas to share, and this is the most powerful tool there is to help you edit like a pro and grow your own audience. So give it a try for yourself. Go to opus.pro/sidebar to start creating your own videos today. There's been some interesting reporting on this. Can you confirm who from Giovanni's family was helping with the search and who wasn't helping with the search? Was there one side of the family that was helping and another side of the family that wasn't helping?
I don't have privy to actually who they were, but I do know that the family is very steadfast in wanting to go out and assist in the search itself. They had family friends, extended family friends that came down from North Carolina just to be involved in this search. And you have to understand, one of our missions here is to prevent the family from having to go out and actually do the searches. We had impressed upon them the fact that we did not want them out there. We impressed upon them the fact that this might not end well. And part of what we do is to prevent the family from having a tragic outcome of having to find their own loved one. That's the reason we're there. That's the reason we do what we do. But the family is very strong. They were very steadfast. And based on what we are aware of, it was an extended member of their friends of the family who actually made the discovery.
Yeah, that's what we saw in the reporting too. There has been statements made by people close to the family that there's not only been misinformation that's being spread online in random social media platforms, but also by law enforcement officials. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
I'm not quite sure what they're referring to. And to be honest with you, it's their story to be told. So I tried to let the family speak on behalf of the family. I will tell you that during the course of what we were doing, there was times that we were given information that we don't feel was accurate, maybe because of the scenario or the situation at the time. And I believe that we were also given information, or we're not giving information that could have changed the outcome of this, not maybe in a positive manner, but at least in a manner where we would have been able to try to do the recovery without having to involve the family. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to a search of this magnitude. There's a lot of emotions involved in these type of searches. And law enforcement's involved. Sometimes law enforcement loves us, and sometimes they see us as a challenge because we're out there trying to find people. We're trying to make closure in these cases. And honestly, I wish we could work together more with law enforcement because, to be honest with you, our goal is the same. It's to find him and bring him home, either in good health or to be able to have the family to lay him to rest. And that's our only mission that we have out here besides trying to support the family during these trying times.
And now they have found these human remains. What is the next stage of this investigation, and how will you and your organization be a part of it?
To be honest with you, if this is Giovanni, our involvement is over. We don't look for the why and the how. We look for the where. We're more concerned about where he is than what got him there. You know, we're private investigators, sure, but we're private investigators working for the family. We're non-criminal conspiracists. We're just out there trying to figure out where we can search, where he is, and pray that we could potentially get to him before something tragic happens to him. And unfortunately, this was not the case. And I'm not quite sure if we would have been effective in that mission of trying to get to him before a tragic situation occurred. But the secondary phase of what we do is to try and locate him and bring him home. There are a lot of families out there right now, we're dealing with them, who do not have the answers of where their loved one is, who are still missing after years. And there comes a time, after a certain period of time of trying to locate somebody, that window closes. And if you're not within that window, your opportunity to bring that person home will slip away from you.
And if this is Giovanni, if it's 100% confirmed, what do you make of the timeline? What do you make of the location of where he potentially was found in relation to the different geographic areas? What should we all be thinking about?
First of all, I would say think of Giovanni and his legacy in the family, number one, and what they're going through. So far as where he was located, if you look at the big picture and if you look at all the facts afterwards, which, to be honest with you, we didn't have at the time, it makes sense that he would have been close to that bag if he truly got out of the car at that location. We had received reports that he got out on River Road. We received reports that he got out on 75. So we had a lot of contradictory information that we were trying to process and eliminate. But this makes sense. If he got out on I-75, then I would say typically with our search parameters within 2 miles of the last location of the individual is a valid search location. And that's what we concentrate on. But unfortunately, we were having to deal with some misinformation and some lack of information. So it made it much more difficult over a 30-something mile span of road that we need to eliminate.
How is the family doing right now?
To the best of our knowledge, they are in crisis, like any family would be. They were praying that this was not the outcome, and so are we. And it's hard sometimes because it feels like, what we do steals their hope that someday their family member will come back through that door. We withdraw all that once they're located. So it's hard. It's devastating. And it's not even hard, it's devastating. This is mostly the worst day of their life, and rightfully so. They wake up, they go to bed one evening, they wake up the next morning and they're in crisis. They're in the worst situation possible. Their son's missing. And that's the reason our organization and the community comes together to try to support this family. They were from out of town. They had nobody besides their family that lived here. They had no connections here. So we wanted to support them, support the mission, and let them know they weren't here alone.
And just to confirm, how far away, if you know, if this is truly Giovanni, his remains, how far away was it from where he was staying? Was it about an hour away? Do we have that correct?
Hold on, I can tell you here. I think it was about 50 miles away from where they actually, from the search area was. Let's see here, 49 miles, as a matter of fact. So from the family's home to I-75 and State Road 70 was 49 miles. For us, like I said, for anybody who was doing this. Now, we believe in the very early stages of this that law enforcement had covered this area and that they had additional resources out there, family was out there. So we didn't want to go back and retrace a lot of their steps unless we have to, which we do in sometimes, and we will. So we wanted to concentrate on an area that hadn't been searched, which was River Road. And so that's the reason we started focusing there and trying to eliminate that.
So did law enforcement give a response to that? Like, we didn't check that area, we thought we checked that area, maybe this specific location we didn't see. Any insight you can give us on that?
I will tell you from experience doing this and being in law enforcement that if this is the scenario, if he had drowned in that water, he would have went to the bottom of the water. And several days later, he would have came to the top of the water. And that could possibly explain what we're dealing with here. Now, I don't know if he drowned. Only the medical examiner does. And from the preliminary reports I've seen with the medical examiner, there's no confirmation that there's water in the lungs. But there again, I'm not the medical examiner.
Sure.
But if there had been water in the lungs and he went to the bottom of that water, there's a great chance that law enforcement could walk right past him, not searching the water, not realizing he was in there. And several days later, like the day that he was recovered, he could have come to the top of the water again based on the expanding of the gases in the body.
It is an incredibly distressing situation that is happening there, particularly for the family. But you and your organization do such important work. If people want to get involved and help with the efforts that you provide and the services your organization provides, what can they do?
I tell everybody we're powered by your donation. So we are empowered by you, the viewers, and the people who support us. They can go to wearetheessentials.com. You can learn about our mission. You can learn how we believe that God leads us out here to help these families answer their prayers when people go missing and try to help them bring them home, whether it be alive or a recovery so they can have a peaceful rest. So thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to speak today and to tell the story not only of Giovanni, but the legacy of others that we've located and that we will continue to fight to help.
No, it's our pleasure to be able to speak to you about this, Billy. Thank you so much, Billy Lane. Again, this is such an important group. We Are the Essentials. Hope everybody can go check them out. Thank you again.
God bless. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So before we wrap things up, I want to let you know that tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, all this week pretty much, I'm going to be hosting Cuomo on News Nation at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing, the plan is, and I'm going to put this up on social media with the number, is we want to take viewers' calls. So if you have questions about any of the cases that we've been covering here on Sidebar, you want to come on, talk about it, we would love to have that. I would love to talk to you guys again. So I'm filling in, hosting Cuomo, 4 days this week, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope you can call and check my social media. I'll make sure to put up that number. Thanks so much, guys. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.